Shalom. Friends, how many of us have them? The term friend, I guess, can be used in a variable amount of ways. I used to spend a lot of time seeking out friends and stuff like that, and I'm not active in that anymore, really. I've I guess I got to a point where I kind of got the comprehension that people really they don't want friends. And they really don't want to spend the time to be friends with anyone. They like associates and stuff like that. It's more of a my way of the highway type situation. They want you to fit into the box that they set you in, and if not, then they have no dealings with you. You know, I've just observed men in general. Men, they expect some form of loyalty that a lot of times they're not willing to give. Thing is, though, when you get older, especially if you're married, you have a covenant that you're dealing with, and so that becomes priority. You drop everything for that. But a lot of times, friends kind of even expect you to drop even what you're doing for your spouse for their friendship, which is irrational. Doesn't change that you're still friends or whatever, but some people have that I guess that standard set that if you're not going to drop everything from me, you can't really be my friend, or, they won't be available for you, but they still expect you to be available for them. When they're having events, when they're having things, they want you there, but yet they won't return that. It's not really reciprocated. A lot of times, men, from what I've seen, they don't like to talk. And so a person that's like me, that's talkative, that kind of ruins things a little bit. I'm one that has no problem explaining myself or whatever. And a man doesn't explain himself. Why not? Where do we see that standard at? And see, I deal with a lot of people that claim to be Bible based in their comprehension of how they live, but you see all through the Bible people explaining themselves. It's kind of interesting. A lot of times I see a lot of people up there psychoanalyzing people, making assessments of someone else's character as well as their way of doing things. But yet, when you flip that and do the same thing with them, they reject it. They feel like it's intrusive as well as a violation. Men don't know how to be what I consider men. A man is going to respect someone else's thoughts and take for themselves, is my take. Me being who I am and leading over my life, that's me being a man. And that cannot intrude on someone else leading themselves and, you know, making decisions for themselves. That's them being a man. If I have to force or demand that you do things my way, then I'm causing you to be submissive to me. I'm taking away your right to dominate. Now, dominating does not mean that we can't come to a conclusion and an agreement, even if we agree to disagree. You're still dominating, rubbing against each other, iron and sharpening iron. But if I, demand that you allow me to push you, you'd be pushed a certain way, or I'd be pushed a certain way. Where's the resistance? Where's the strength growing? Because the more you lean to another's understanding, the more you become cookie cutter and they be the ones directing and controlling the thing. And it's not a mutual, it's not an agreement. It's basically ultimatum, a forced situation. And the only person that we should be, going a certain direction with is with Yah, the Father. We should give up all our objections and all of our friction when it comes to Yah. But when it comes to one another, we should always be willing to reason and come together and, even in disagreement, still continue to walk towards Yah. Persons can easily say, well, I don't agree with that. And I appreciate that. You have a right to disagree. And I can have a friendship with a person like that, a person who's standing their own ground, but yet deciding still to deal with me. Most people don't want to deal with anyone that's not in agreement totally with them. And so they're not really looking for friendship. They're looking for someone to go along and get along. That's not friendship. That's cronyism. People, always can psychoanalyze other people, but do that same assessment towards yourself. See, I'm not a military person, so I don't have that much respect for his military thing. I'm not a fraternity person, so I don't have respect for that either. I don't have to be a part of a group. I've always had this been in a group or even sought to be in a group, but end up being isolated. So I know how to roll by myself. Not always what I want to do, but I can count on me. Don't know how to count on people. And so, though I desire to be a friend, I don't have to give up myself or who I am to be your friend. If that's what's necessary, keep it. I may desire it, but I'm not going to remove my right and my will to be your friend. Only person that has that is Yah, that I will give up what I am or who I am is Yah. Sadly, I walk around seeing all this type of stuff and this type of behavior. And when I call it out, people have objection with me. And again, cool. Cool. I don't have great following. And a lot of times, most of the things I say, I end up being the one that um, is entertained or listened to. I listen to myself. I try to listen to others, and a lot of times I can't because the more I listen to them, I hear that they're mostly manipulating people. Some of the same things that they're speaking against, they're actually doing. How do you tell me not to? I guess you say, I have people who say, um, don't throw subliminal shots. And it could be a general topic, but they didn't say it directly to me. They did it in a subliminal shot. So the same thing that you're wanting me to get from you, you're using the same method. You must know that it works because you're using the same method. Um, People don't like that I'm willing to be transparent about my past. A lot of times the reason why they don't like it is because they're not willing to be transparent with their past. They really have not gotten past the situations that They say they've gotten past. And how are you going to help other people's in victories in areas that you won't even admit that you've yourself dealt with? You know, you have people that have committed adultery. They sitting up counseling people about how to be married, but they won't acknowledge that in the past life they've done things wrong before they got it right. They come down with the hammer on people. You have people that will point out how someone did them wrong, but they won't lay out how many times they've done other people wrong. And I don't believe in karma, but they sowed what they reaped. I mean, they reap what they sow. Excuse me. They reap what they sow. They did stuff, and it come back to them. The number of men out here that basically lie, and they say, "Well, it's a small lie," or they don't see it as a lie. The number one lie out there is, "I'll call you back. I'll pray for you. I'll do something," and they don't do it. And a lot of times it's not that they have slight a thought and they forgot about it. They never intended on doing it in the first place. Some people are those ones that try to have small talk with people just to kind of move the situation on. They have no intention whatsoever in doing what they're saying or coming out their mouth. Oh, we need to break bread. They don't. They just saying it's not something that they actually plan on doing. And when you hold them to it, or even try to make these things manifest, they're not trying to do it. They really are not trying to be friends. That that's not in that's not something that they desire. A lot of people really want to have their friends only be those that they grew up with, and those numbers are so small. When you get up in your 50s, most of the time, majority of the people that you hung out with or grew up with are living totally different lives or deceased. So, some people have the mantra of no new friends. How does that work? Especially if you're supposed to be healed, especially if you're supposed to be moving as a servant of Yah. If you can't build in new relationships or whatever, something is wrong with you. You're not healed. You want to put that somebody needs to be healed and you're not healed because you're not open to new things. You're not open to grow with somebody. Should you really be leading people when you have this whole mantra or mindset, no new friends? So now the only place and position that you can be is over people. You don't get any peers. You don't have anybody that you see as level, anyone that you respect. How are you going to ever be held accountable? You can't be. I get it. I hear from Yah. But a lot of times, those that hear from Yah needed to hear from someone else. Moshe heard from Yah. Go back to your people and take lead. But as he was going, he had to hear from his wife because circumcision had not happened in that household. And so she had to operate on that. During the whole life of Moses, he had to hear from his Jethro. Though he had heard from Yah, there are many opportunities that he had to open himself up and hear from men and women, other people. Just use Moshe as an example, but there are many others. They had to also listen to Yah using other people. If we had it all together, why are we in the state that we're in as a people? We obviously don't have it all together. You don't have the situation of the curses if the ancestors had not been disobedient to Yah. So to think that we are, all of a sudden just jumped in line and following the commandments perfectly is just, that's a delusion. So we have to be iron, sharpening iron, coming against one another sometimes to gain clarity of the discussions that we're having. The issues of life are happening to all of us, but how each and every one of us deals with it, or how it hits us in the heart, is different. Something that may humble and hurt me, another person can blow straight through and it don't be nothing. When I went through my divorce, it almost tore me up. But again, that process helped me to be the man that I am today. And I use those things to minister. So people say, oh, you're always talking about the past. Yes. What is the Bible other than the past? How are we preaching and teaching out of this thing if the past is irrelevant? Learning from the mistakes of Moshe, when Yah told him first to strike the rock for water, but the next time he said, I want you to speak to it. And yet Moses struck it twice. He didn't get to enter into the land because of his disobedience, yet he was the leader over those people. That situation, though, is something that we used to learn love and honor of Yah and obedience of Yah matters even to the leader, all the way down to the layman. It matters. But that situation is a past situation that we are able to learn from today. So many different things. David was a man after Yah's own heart, but yet he committed murder. He set up a murder as well as committed adultery. We learn from that situation. Abraham was the man of faith, but yet many times he thought that his wife was going to be his death. When he went into new lands, he had to be my sister, say you were my sister, because fear of something happening overwhelmed him. But that's the man of faith. We learn from these situations of the past. Just like the Bible situation of the past, our life, we should learn from our past situations and be able to move forward. So just because we had bad friendships in the past does not exclude us from being able to have friendships today. One of the problems I see is that we know that we have to have love languages when we deal with our spouse, but what about the love languages of those that we consider our friends, our brothers? When you know someone has a need for something, but yet you deny that need, that's not being a friend. That's not even being a brother. Some people know, oh, he needs this, and they deny access because the control and it's like, I get it, you may feel like they're trying to manipulate you, but if you really love them, sometimes would it hurt to do something that you see as so small to assist and encourage your friend or your brother to move forward? Well, I just wanted to just talk a little bit. Friends, how many of us have them? Not many of us really have friends because, for one, you got to be a friend to receive a friend. I've been a friend to many, but I can count on my hands how many I have been able to depend on. When things have went awry in my life, I usually can't find anyone. I'm the one that people find when they got issues, but I don't get it reciprocated. And I don't do it for the reciprocation, but there should be some reciprocation. How do you expect a friend if you yourself can't be a friend. Friends, how many of us have them? Shalom.